Hey, Andrew.
Yes, Steven?
You know how we romanticize the days of going out to our local video store and sifting through endless amounts of movies, searching for our favorite films, and maybe even finding some hidden gems?
Oh yes, I know it all too well. That used to be my favorite thing to do. Unfortunately, everything is online now.
Well, what if I told you that there was a place online where you could get some of them same thrills as going to the video store?
Are you talking about Orbit DVD?
I knew you knew what I was talking about. Orbit DVD is located in Asheville, North Carolina, and online with OrbitDVD.com, they bring you everything your physical media heart desires.
Yeah, they have an awesome website that stays up to date with the latest releases from all of your favorite boutique labels as well as studio releases. Not only do they carry American labels such as Criterion Collection, Severin Films, Vinegar Syndrome, and Warner Archive, but they get routine shipments on imports from companies such as 88 Films, Arrow Video, Imprint, and so much more.
And with the option to sell or trade your used copies for cash or store credit, they really bring that video store vibe to you. So go to OrbitDVD.com and stock up on your Blu-rays.
And tell them Chasing Labels sent you.
Welcome, guys. It's me, Stephen Billings, and of course with me as always is Andrew Cabral.
Hello, everyone. Once again, we are back together. I mean, we're always together.
Do we ever do this alone? It's just
I
me.
know.
It's always
We've
me.
never actually done an episode alone. So
I'm gonna do one without you and not tell you one day.
Oh, break my heart, stab me in the back.
Yeah,
Et tu, Brute?
That's what I do.
A little Shakespeare.
Yeah, well,
a little Shakespeare in there.
It's
Class
not,
things up a bit.
It's not Shakespeare time right now. We'll do that later. But of course, we're back again. We have another great interview for you guys. And this week, this was one that I a friend of the show, Jonathan Hertzberg. He was gracious enough to help get me in contact with these guys. And I thought this would be a really fun conversation because I think the site Letterboxd is something that a lot of us collectors use tons, whether it's keeping up with what we want to watch, what we have watched, and even as collectors, maybe making lists that keeps up with our collections. And so
very much so.
I know me and you bounce back and forth with what we know we watch for each week.
Definitely. I mean, it is an integral part of how I prepare for the show each and every week to keep track of all of the announcements that we get to talk about.
Yeah.
So without it, I would be in a more difficult situation, to say the least. Also, I've been using it personally for like over a decade now. So it's like it just goes hand in hand.
Yeah. And of course, just that and Blu-ray.com, you would just fall apart. You wouldn't be able to keep up with anything.
Very true.
Yeah.
I would be lost at sea.
Yeah. But of course, so this week we were able, our friend Jonathan helped us reach out to Letterboxd, and we got a couple great guests for you this week. One of them being the senior editor and also regular on the Letterboxd show, Mitchell Beaupre, and then also the head of social media, Aaron Yap. How you guys doing?
Very good. Awesome to be here.
Did I mess up the names? I probably did.
Perfect. Nailed it for me.
We're good.
Okay. It's a journey.
If you listen to the show long enough, you'll know that I suck at remember. Even if I just asked you, it doesn't matter.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah,
I felt like I could see the wheels turning in your eyes, just making sure.
It is
going into it.
It's also that I'm insane, so I'm just always crazy. You never know what I'm going to say. But thank you guys for joining us. We really, really appreciate you taking the time. I know, Aaron, you're was it New Zealand?
Yeah, I'm all the way in New Zealand. Different time zones. Always crazy when I'm talking to people in the States. So, but I'm used to it. It's fun.
Yeah. So I think it's right around 3:00 for you, and I think Mitchell's here on our time zone, so at 9:00, so not too bad. But let's get into it, guys. So first, let's just get into your backgrounds. Just tell us a little bit overall about what you guys do for Letterboxd. And Mitchell, let's start with you.
Sure. Yeah. I, like you said, I'm the senior editor at Letterboxd, so I handle a lot of. I work with our editor in chief, Gemma Gracewood, on a lot of our editorial stuff, which we run on a kind of section of the site called Journal, where we run like interviews, stories, et cetera, et cetera. I work a little bit with Aaron on the social media side of things. I also, as you mentioned, I co-host our podcast. We've got a few different podcasts. The main one usually is having a guest on to talk about like their 4 favorite movies. And then we have another one called Weekend Watch List that I'm on that tracks like the movies coming out each week and talks about them a little bit and kind of just like what the Letterboxd community, like some of the reviews and everything like that. And then we've got another one going right now that's specifically on like the awards season. That's kind of a mini series called Best in Show. I am not on that one because I don't really get into the award season stuff that much. But yeah, I think that's more or less everything that I handle.
That's good, man. Yeah, I did. I've been listening. I got so many podcasts. I listen to so many, but I've been listening to some of the. I'm with you. I'm not super Oscar guy. I mean,
Yeah.
I like to keep informed, but I don't get super into it. Like some of my other friends. I got a friend, Dan Skiball, and that's all he likes to talk about is the Oscars. I'm like, dude, I haven't seen any of these movies, right? Like I haven't have time. But Aaron, please tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so I joined Letterboxd a few years ago. I had another job, and then I sort of fell into managing the Letterboxd Instagram. I noticed that it was kind of being left for dead, and I sort of jumped in and said, "Hey, can I update your Letterboxd Instagram account?" So that's kind of a way I sort of found my way into this job. But I actually, like I started using it like almost 10 years ago. So I knew who the co-founder, Matt Buchanan, was. So I was pretty much chasing this job for a very long time in a way. But yeah, so started doing the head of social media stuff 2 years ago. So yeah, look after all our social platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and just a lot of chaotic fun, trying to keep the sort of letterbox tone and voice, just all about discovering movies and just being loving it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got to be a tough. I have a tough time just thinking of, I mean, I don't do a good job out of it, but just for our show, we talk about Blu-rays every week, and I'm thinking like it'd be nice if I could just regularly post stuff about movies and physical releases, and I find it difficult to think about what to post. And I'm like, you over here, one of the biggest platforms, one of the biggest sites out there for film lovers, and you got to try to come up with stuff to post all the time on all the different social medias, and I'm over here complaining about my one little podcast.
Just to keep the water flowing, keep everything moving, keep people knowing about Letterboxd all the time. And I guess the bedrock of Letterboxd is movies. So I guess it's a logical transition to talk about your love of movies. So whoever wants to talk first, just like where did all that kind of begin?
Aaron, you can go first if you want.
Oh, okay. Where did it begin? So I've always, as probably with yourselves, I've loved movies since I was a kid, and definitely, grew up in the era of VHS and video. So video store is definitely a huge part of my childhood, and just all the way to when DVD first came out, I was there buying the new chunky players that came out at that time, and it was just I don't know downhill or uphill from there.
Did you have the same panic attack I did when we went to DVDs and they told you VHSs were going away? Like I had the super panic attack because that's all I had was VHSs at home, and they were like, all these VHSs are going to be gone. I went into my local Blockbuster and they were like, these are all going to be gone.
I don't think I was. It wasn't so much a panic. I thought it was a pretty exciting time. I mean, I didn't grow up collecting VHS as stuff. I did collect it when DVD when it was coming in and stores were closing. I did a lot of collecting in that period actually. So picking up like huge boxes and stuff like that for like a couple of bucks per tape, that sort of stuff. So it was kind of like in tandem as DVD was coming in and VHS was going out. I was doing collecting at the same time, so I was like, amassing a lot of stuff over that period, but also discovering a lot of stuff. And I think one of the sort of key points was just discovering like magazines like Shock Cinema, which you probably know about, and just the sort of the grey market area of VHS trading. So that was kind of a huge kind of step into that world for me, and just discovering so many, just kind of blowing my mind with so many things out there across the world that are quite difficult to get hold of and unreleasable. And it was just this kind of never-ending holy grail. But then
Yeah.
when DVD came in, it just kind of made a lot of that stuff way easier to access. And now it's sort of, so much stuff out there that's so hard to keep track of. And I guess that's part of what Letterboxd is quite useful for as well. And also fueling that never-ending journey
Oh
of
yeah, God.
discovering and finding
I, I
stuff.
I know Mitchell's got a problem with that. I hear him on the show, like he adds too much to his watch list. So
Oh, it's
his
never ending.
journey's never going to end.
Never ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very long list.
But Aaron, what was some of them kind of foundational films? Where were some of the films that you remember early
Oh,
on that
wow.
really made you fall in love with movies?
So I think a lot of my early tastes were obviously just kind of very, what people might just say basic now, film bro kind of stuff. I mean, I was huge on Tarantino when I was like 15. I tried to sneak into the screening of Reservoir Dogs at a film festival with my dad. Didn't get in, but
Mm.
but I was watching. I love horror, so horror was a huge thing when I was growing up. One of my earliest film memories I always tell people is like just checking on like the Beast Within, like one night when my dad was watching, and it kind of set me on a weird path into horror. And yeah, sort of a strange journey. You just think about sort of all that stuff, and then throughout the years, it kind of just morphs into you getting into the deep cuts. You kind of you discover like European cinema. You go into Eurocult. Finding people like Jess Franco. Just like the world is so huge, and your mind just gets ripped open at some point, and you can't
Yeah,
go back.
one of my rip open points was when I discovered Satyajit Ray, Bengali film. When I discovered his films through Criterion, that's when I started to really start thinking really hard about international cinema. It's his films are so freaking good. Like I just and then I went down a wormhole just trying to find anything I could of his. And yeah, I mean it can be very obsessive when you find some a filmmaker or an actor or something you really engage with in film, and it can send you on a path. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think one of those, you sort of, it's also like a high, like you kind of think of film not as a linear or like one straight experience, but it's so many, the spectrum of sort of experiences. So you get
Mm.
high art, and then at the other end you get just kind of start to appreciate things that people might consider objectively bad, but it's also, I, I sort of take it, you sort of embrace that stuff with as much love as you love something like Akira Kurosawa or something. So I sort of feel like you start to kind of read things in a different way, and I feel like that's really one of the key learnings as you start sort of get opening the world, if you know what I mean.
yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think us that really that love film, there's a romanticism about film that even when we find something that's not necessarily great, we can see the endearing qualities in something that's not that great, and see that the intention, a lot of times, and that can be enough to even though we can for ourselves kind of decide that maybe something's not good, we still can find something we like in it because we just love film and we love people's pursuit of making a good movie, and that's enough for me sometimes. That's just seeing the intention. Is part of it. And if you know how hard it is to make a movie, that you can appreciate it even more. But Mitchell, please tell us where did it all begin for you?
Yeah, I mean, likewise, like don't know like where it all really like started, but I was, obsessed with movies since I was a kid. I remember being like, weirdly, I remember I was like super, super obsessed with Batman and Robin when I was like 7 and it came out in
I was a
theaters.
Batman Forever guy. I'm sorry, Batman and Rob. I mean,
I like
I
Batman
saw
Forever
both of them
too.
in theater, so I was right there with you.
I definitely remember seeing Batman and Robin in theaters, having like the action figures. I thought Schwarzenegger was cool as hell. Mr. Freeze, like, loved all the puns, loved everything.
yeah.
And I think so. I started kind of by getting involved with like those kind of like blockbuster. I was really into comics when I was a kid, and so like I loved when that like turning point where like you went from Blade to then like X-Men and like Spider-Man, like the Raimi Spider-Man and everything, and like that stuff was really popping off. That's when I started to really get more into movies, and like Lord of the Rings was around the same time. And so I think from that, I remember really I saw like an Entertainment Weekly cover that was like the it list for like summer like 2003, and Hugh Jackman was on the cover, and I was like, oh, I love Wolverine, like let me see what this is. And so like I started picking up Entertainment Weekly, and I think through Entertainment Weekly I got more into like deeper movies a little bit, or more like serious quote unquote movies. Not that like superhero movies aren't serious, but like, different, kind of broadening my taste a little bit. And like that was 2003 was the big like Lord of the Rings Return of the King like Oscar year. So like I was really invested in that. And then that got me into like the Oscars, and I like Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man. So I watched Seabiscuit, and I watched like Mystic River because it was like in the Oscar stuff. So that like broached me a little bit more into that. And then it was really the like the IMDb message boards, which like don't even exist anymore, but I got really into those. And then I saw like the IMDb top 250, and then that got me into like Sergio Leone and like Hitchcock, and like going into that kind of deeper, more classic dive. And then just kind of going from there, I met a friend in high school who was like a year older than me, who was really into film, who, like, nobody else in my like little high school in Delaware was really into film in that kind of way. So he introduced me to like David Lynch and Greg Araki and stuff like that when I was a teenager. And yeah, it just kind of ballooned from there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's you definitely. I think you're right in our age group. Me and
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
say that journey sounds very familiar
yeah, it
because
does. Yeah,
I did
yeah,
a lot of those same things.
yep.
I was on those IMDb message boards
I was
for a
obsessed
long
with
time.
them.
Uh,
Obsessed.
yeah, I would go there like after I had watched even television.
Mm-hmm.
Television, like the message boards were there, and people would be talking and whatnot. They had to shut those down years ago because it was just such a. It was kind of becoming Reddit before Reddit was a thing, or
It was,
some of those
yeah, it
other
was kind of a
classic forums.
cesspool. I definitely I remember being like up late at night, like stewing over some like nasty thing some asshole said to me on there, and it's like it's not worth it. Like, just let it go.
Yeah, they had to get rid of them, but I mean, I have boxes of old Entertainment Weeklies just sitting around. I think I've thrown out so many over the years, but some I've kept. Because it would always be those things where, like, you would go, coincidentally, it would be like a movie store or a
Mm-hmm.
place like that where you'd be checking out to be like, hey, you want to sign up for whatever magazine for a year for $20, and it's Entertainment Weekly. And so I would just get it every week, and I'm like, these keep coming. I haven't even renewed, and they just keep showing up all the time. So I have all these old boxes, but yet again, that's kind of how we kind of consumed media. Like, in that, even though we had the internet, magazines were still really popular at the time in the 2000s and the 2010s for a certain amount of time. But yeah, it's a very similar journey, I think, for a lot of us.
Yeah, when
One of
Entertainment
the
Weekly stopped, they like announced like early like last year or whatever that they stopped doing the print issue, and that like felt like like they were killing part of my childhood, or like part of my, my film love, even though I haven't like I think I was somehow subscribed to them still, because I had like subscribed over and over. I used to work at a movie store too that had like a discount card that did like a free, like, if you sign up for the discount card you get a year of Entertainment Weekly like subscription free. So I think I just had like enough backstock on subscriptions that I was still just getting it up until they stopped doing the print. But yeah, it was really a big blow for them to stop doing that anymore.
One of the things I used to do, I feel a bit guilty about this, but like we used to have a Borders store downtown, and I would always, every weekend, I'd go to Borders, and there was like a cafe just like underneath. I'd just
Mm-hmm.
grab a copy of EW and read it from front to back and put it back on the shelf, kind of
Nice.
thing. But it used to be a ritual, and it was just, yeah, a thing you did. Like,
Eh, they
I
leave it
was
there for anybody to go in there and do. I mean, it's
well, I was just gonna
if
say
you have the
my
time, you know.
yeah, I was gonna say my border store put the magazines and put the magazine section right next to the cafe.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I guess they kind of wanted you to do that
They're
again,
inviting
maybe.
you. They're just
Kind of
asking for
inviting.
it.
It's right there.
I guess they think most people don't have the time, so they're not going to sit around and reading whole magazines or whole books or but some people
Ironic,
do, you know.
yeah. Ironically, the Barnes and Noble that I go to has that same setup where the magazines are right next to their cafe. Um, I don't know why they set it up like that.
Yeah, there's a
Mm,
Barnes and Noble near me. That's the same way. It's the magazines right next to the cafe.
yeah. So when it comes to the collecting portion of your life, Mitchell, where did that really start to creep in?
Um, yeah, that's a good question. I think I like kind of went through like phases where like I definitely was picking up VHSs back in the day. Like I definitely wore out like the Matrix, like VHS for sure. And then weirdly, I remember the first DVD I ever got was Mr. Deeds, which I was like super stoked about. And I don't think I like collected DVDs, but I did like that kind of was a period when DVDs like first boomed. At least for me, was in like the early 2000s, right? And like I was still at that stage where any movie I watched, I liked because I just liked movies. And so like I would pretty much get like whatever my allowance was, I would just spend on like a DVD of, anything that I saw. Like I remember I saw Dickie Roberts' Former Child Star, the David Spade movie in theaters. And I'm sure if I watched that now, it would probably be like one of the worst movies I ever saw. But I bought that on DVD because it's just like I like movies, so anything I like. But I think the collecting I went through like a period where I got like really sick for a while, and so I wasn't making money for a while, so I couldn't really like collect at all. But then once I started getting better enough to where I could start working again, it's basically the only thing that I like, other than food, rent, whatever. Like the only thing that I spend money on is movies because it's really like my only interest. So like my partner like tells me that it's like literally impossible to like shop, like buy presents for me for like my birthday or Christmas or whatever, because the only things I want are movies. And if like whatever I want I've already got for myself, like I literally like I pre-order anything that is interesting to me like the second that it goes up. So you can't really like shop for me at all. But yeah, once I started working, I mean, it's basically just my paycheck goes to movies.
It, I have a wife and kids and a mortgage, and it's still a problem for me.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. We should start a group. We should start a little roundtable group of the
You maybe
therapy.
shouldn't start a podcast about collecting.
I think I created the
physical media.
podcast. I think I created the podcast to keep my movie buying around. It was a way to safeguard it, to keep me from
But it's also
stopping.
like
Yeah.
but it's also like a double-edged sword because like I know for me doing this with Steven, everything we talk about, there's a good like 90% of it that I want. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And
Yeah.
it's like you gotta be strong. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
He's
this
a
looks
lot
so
strong.
cool.
He's a lot stronger than I am. I'm not.
I am, and I hate myself for it. I
Yeah.
mean, if I didn't have if my willpower was like down like 1%, I it'd be bad. It'd be really bad. But it is another thing where like us talking about all this stuff does make you kind of want it as well. You know what I mean? It
For
also
sure.
keeps you. I also like to stay informed about what's going on too. So it all works out in the end. But my wish list of things that I want grows more and more as the weeks go by, and it's like I got a backlog of stuff I got to get. Um, but it's just it's just interesting how collecting and movie fandom goes hand in hand, um, and also kind of like not movie I wouldn't say movie criticism, or even analysis, but just the idea of logging movies, on Letterboxd is kind of a thrilling thing, at least for me. I don't know if anybody else out there listening, if that's a thing where, like, you feel like you're checking things off of a list, you know what I mean? Like, you like the wish list or the watch list that's on there, um, just trying to, like, put a dent into it feels like an
Put a dent into
accomplishment.
the ever growing, never stop growing thing, which is movies being made. Yeah, that's what's so daunting about it is, honestly, the way I use it is I have to use it for just my collection. if I start putting things in a watch list that are things that I don't own, it will never end. Like it'll never end. Everything on my watch list is in my room right now. So that's still a problem,
Mm,
but it's still
okay.
something that is pretty hard to catch up with. But yeah, let's really get into talking about how Letterboxd is become a very, I think, useful and important thing for collectors and film fans. So Aaron, when did you notice that? Um, was there a moment when you were doing this job where you've really noticed how important the collector is involved in when he's using Letterboxd, and not just film fans in
Um,
general?
yeah, I guess coming from myself as a collector, I did the first thing I kind of used Letterbox for was like a memory aid, because you just forget things. And I feel
Yeah,
like if you're a collector and you have so much in your collection and you're just consuming movies all the time, Letterbox is just perfect for keeping it in just one tidy place you can go back to. So just keeping lists like like of your own collection. I don't know if you know about the owned feature that we have,
yeah,
that
yeah,
you can, yeah. So that's been really helpful, trying to keep track of things. But also just maybe generally on social, we do get like requests from people who are like, how do I, I've got a huge collection, how do I, keep it on Letterbox and stuff like that. And that feature itself may not be as widely known or used as some of the other ones, but I feel like it's quite a subtle little trick, for those
yeah.
of you out there who have large collections. I guess the thing is just kind of having that discipline to maintain it on a regular basis.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like even just getting if you already have a large collection and you want to start doing it, it's daunting.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I thought, it's another app I've used that is for collecting, for keeping up with your collection. One feature I've always thought, I wonder if Letterboxd would be into implementing it, is having some type of barcode scan to help scan in your movies. I don't know if that's something they've talked about ever trying to do with the Letterboxd app, so that if you want to log in your collection, that it can recognize a barcode. That's the thing, is it's just, I know that your system's not linked up with something like a Blu-ray.com. It's not linked up
It's not like
through.
a product.
It's not.
You
It's
know,
yeah. It's
it's
not a
not a
product.
selling. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
They're not selling product.
Yeah.
yeah. That's the one tough thing
Hmm.
about it is there's no real other way to do it except for manually. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So, but
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's a really good idea. I feel like we're sort of, I would say we were sort of geared more to the streaming sort of space at the moment. Like the physical side of it hasn't been quite integrated as a starting point. So, but that's not to say that it could be something that we to explore in the future.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
No,
yeah.
yeah, I think, but I mean, though I don't look, Letterbox isn't necessarily, set up to be a physical media, kind of place to keep, but it's just, and I think without trying has become a nice utilization for people that have physical media. And yeah, but streaming, though we love collecting physical media, we understand how streaming is important for people as well. And we use it all the time. We
Mm,
use it to talk about the movies that we don't know anything about that get released and that get announced every week. We have to use streaming, and of course Letterboxd has a great way of keeping you linked to where you can find this stuff. They have the Just Watch app
link.
that's connected to it, and you can figure out where something's playing. And yeah, I mean, that's become a really useful thing for us as well. So
Yeah, for me, the integration that they kind of just introduced recently, where like if you have like your lists with like your collection in them, where you tag them as owned, like Aaron was talking about, now like it can show up in the Just Watch thing and say that you own this movie. Like that has been so key for me, because I do have like so many movies that I don't like. Sometimes I don't remember if I own something, so I just like check the letterbox page to see, like, make sure I own it before I buy it, because I'm like in my office on my computer or whatever. I don't have time to walk to my living room to see if it's on my shelf. Like
yeah,
just double check to make sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me it's like I have like four different lists of like once like my Criterion, like everything that I own from Criterion, then like all my 4K Blu-rays, all my Blu-rays, and then like all my DVDs are in like separate lists. But
Yeah.
having that like own tag on all of them, I can like have all of the movies that I own in one place as well on Letterboxd, which is like really useful. And it is the thing that you were talking about, Andrew, where like the Letterboxd does really like motivate you to like watch things to like for that completionist sake. So like on my list, I see, you know, I have only watched like 70% of like the movies I own or whatever. And it makes me want to keep like watching them too, beyond just, you know, not wanting to, I bought these things, I should probably watch them. But like, it does like, it's cool to see the bar going up. But then of course I buy like 10 more and the bar goes down when I add them in. But it's a
Yeah.
fun game.
Yeah. I like what I typically like to do is keep up with my first time watches. Is kind of my big thing, and seeing, you know, and you know, if you have you know, you get like at the end of the year, you always get that like the kind of year in review thing where it
I
shows
was just thinking of that.
how much you get, how much you watch, but specifically movies that I've never watched before.
Mm-hmm.
For, you know, like uh, I like to know how much I've watched, or you know, the movies that I watch, how many movies I've watched in a year for the first time, and so I'm trying to make sure I keep up with that this year. I didn't. I had a baby last year. Nothing happened last year. Um, but this year I think I'm already up to 30 in the first month, so I'm doing pretty good. I feel like
Impressive.
it could be better, Andrew. I could
I
do
was
more.
complimenting you. Whatever.
Don't compliment.
Whatever.
I'm trying to keep myself motivated to see more, but
I got
um,
you. No, no false confidence here. No
yeah,
false
yeah.
confidence here.
Let's not get ahead of
I
ourselves.
actually, I do like, as someone who's like obsessed with tracking like progression and progress, and specifically for myself, maybe just to kind of give myself a sense of self-confidence, I do like the fact that it, you know, you do have the diary function where you can log in, you know, all of your watches, and it keeps track of how many, keeps track of how many, I think keeps track of how many like hours you've watched and all this kind of minute stuff. But I guess that all, and I guess that all depends on which, you know, if you have a, which tier of an account you have and stuff like that. I love the end of the year wrap ups. It just gives you that kind of retrospective of what you've done all year, like what director you watched the most of, what actor or actress you've seen the most of. Um, I always like those things just because it's like, oh, I didn't realize I had watched
Yeah,
so many films of this person. And it's just it's a cool like little interactive function. And I've noticed that over the years that Letterboxd has become more interactive and more user friendly in that regard. You know what I mean? It makes kind of like the user feel like they're like what they're doing makes like is more worthwhile, if you will. Like it makes it more fun for them. You know, like almost as if it's a game of like, hey, watch so many movies because you can be cool, I guess. You know, that's
yeah.
what I think. You know, um, but yeah, I just find that there's been a significant progression, I would say, of Letterboxd over the years. I know, you know, all of our listeners, and maybe not all of them, most of them have been using for a very long time. But it started out as a very basic thing, and then now it's kind of graduated to have a multiple function thing. Like you were saying with the multiple podcasts, but also with articles covering certain things, so covering film festivals and all this kind of stuff. It's really become kind of like a movie lovers hub of information and things.
And when we just talked to Jonathan Hertzberg, where you guys released the trailer for his newest release with Party Girl. So, you know, even down to, you know, helping out a physical media label, you know, release their you know, their first kind of, they're venturing out to it, you know, doing their kind of their own thing, and you guys helped him out with that. So I think that's one part of Letterbox. I don't know that. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I feel like that editorial side, you know, that I don't see people paying attention to as much as they should. Um, you Mitchell, you being involved in that, I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like um, the editorial side of Letterbox is being paid attention enough to, or
No, never enough. Never enough. Always more.
yeah,
Always more, please. Yeah, I mean, I think that it is an interesting thing because I think that the industry for like outlets publishing that kind of coverage is very like it is a little gatekeepy, right? Like you have the people who are very like established, you know, upper tier, and Letterbox is pretty new to that game. I think that, you know, when Letterbox started, I can't imagine that Matthew and Carl, the guys who created it, like ever imagined that like editorial interviewing, directors and actors and whatever was going to be like a thing that was going to come from it, but it is a thing where the site has just been evolving more and more. And like I came on 2 years ago to Letterboxd, and even within the last 2 years, it's like blown up to like a really extreme level, just like the editorial side of things. And you see like the people that we can kind of get like access to is a lot different now than it was when I first started, because it feels like some of the people within the industry are catching on to like what Letterbox is and like how important it can be and how much it like ties directly to like the people who are watching this stuff. The fact that like we can get people to like recently we got the Daniels, who directed Everything Everywhere All at Once, to read like Letterbox reviews on a video which we published, and like that was so huge and something that like I couldn't have imagined us being able to get possibly the guys who are going to win the Oscar for Best Director to read Letterboxd reviews of their movie for like 10 minutes. And it does feel like it's sort of still in its nascent stage, where some people like in the industry know who we are and get the value of Letterboxd, whereas like some other like publicists or studios like don't really get the value of Letterboxd yet, and like won't bend over to like allow us access to certain people or whatever. But it's getting there. I think one of the integration things that we're still trying to work out is how to get people more aware of the fact that there even is an editorial side of Letterboxd, and like how to get it into like more on like the homepage when you open it, or like in your activity feeds. Because I think that there are a lot of people who don't even realize that we're doing that kind of stuff. But we are all trying to kind of tie it in together. That's part of like where the podcast comes from, where like a lot of the stuff that Aaron and like the social team are doing is trying to raise awareness through all the different kind of platforms that we have and all the different avenues that we have of what everything is that's going on at Letterboxd. And I think we've been doing a lot of like different social videos this year. We've been using like interviews to get like videos that we post on our social channels and everything too, a lot more like over the past year. And so it all kind of ties together. But yeah, I would love people to check out the editorial side of things more. I mean, I'm doing a lot of stuff over there. It's kind of cool.
That's good, man. That's good. Any more to add to that, Aaron? Do you think, is it, are you not doing enough? Are you not? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm
you do more to get people to know it's there.
It's yeah. I just want like the journal section is, I think it's world class. Like we've got so many great writers that are doing it, and Mitchell and Jim are doing a great job of editing it, and would love more people to dig into it, because I think just from the social side there, because socials it's all about clicks and stuff that just gets engagement, and sometimes that stuff overshadows the journal side of things, because reading long interviews doesn't get you to immediate clicks on Twitter or whatever. So that's kind of like trying to find that balance between trying to keep the engagement going and the social audience into what we're doing, and also just promoting as much as we can the great writing that the editorial team are doing as well. And I think if people knew, I think there's a perception of Letterboxd being a bit just, we're all about the one-liner reviews and, just kind of like quirky writing from, just that sort of stuff. But I think if people knew more about journal and how like deep things do get into film, that we're not just kind of like this surface level social app, I think it'll just be be a nicer place on film Twitter. You want to get as many like Letterboxd is just it's one-liner jokes, all about popularities and likes and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's my sort of view on just that sort of balance between having like a really fantastic and deep diving editorial section, and also just the really fun silly stuff we do in social.
Yeah. I think, at least my perception of Letterboxd compared to some other sites that have, film reviews, I honestly, for me, feel like it's a more reliable place. Of course, anybody can go in there, write user reviews and things like that. But I just feel like people that really want to, give their opinion in a thoughtful way, they a lot of them are using Letterboxd. The people that are thoughtful film thinking people, even people that are not journalists or anything like that. That we some that follow our show that I see all the time go in and write some really nice Letterboxd reviews. And that's where I go when I want to hear some normal people opinions on movies. A lot of times, not just the. I like listening to the critics and things like that, but there's a lot of smart just movie watchers out there, and I see a lot of good stuff because when you go to IMDb just it feels like there's a lot of hate.
That's
Just
the other
hate,
side of the
just
spectrum.
hate watching on IMDb and hate posting, and that's just like a dirty place.
Yeah, IMDb's become
It's a dirty place now.
it's like the wild, wild west of like movie place. It really
And then Rotten Tomatoes, it's
is different.
it's a different thing, and it's also very much on a face. It's become a face value place where they're just looking for the percentage of the right. They're not looking at reviews. They're not really paying attention to that. And you go to Letterboxd, you can see star ratings, but you click on it to really get. I think people the way that the site is set up and the way it looks, it entices me to want to go in and read and not necessarily just pass by it and see numbers and things. It's not throwing that in your face to make you say, hey, you don't have to really look into this.
And like with anything, there's always going to be issues. But by issues, I mean like there's always going to be like rotten apples in the orchard or something like that, where there's going to be people, whether it be Letterboxd, whether it be any place else in a social media platform setting, there's always going to be some negativity there. And, like it's inevitable now on the internet. I think the one thing I don't know if it's the way Letterboxd algorithm is put together. I don't see a lot of it, but you do come across it, every once in a while. You know what I mean? It's inevitable.
I mean, Aaron, it's all positive on there, right? It's all nice people.
You could
tell
it's lovely. Yeah. Well,
we love the viewers.
But seriously, we do get a lot of we've heard a lot of compliments just from external, even filmmakers and talent, and just likewise, who do find that Letterboxd is a nicer place to be in, just in that space. We've got a really great moderation team who are they stamp out all the rotten apples, but even then, it's like we're not like IMDb level of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there definitely is the moderation team that we have does a great job of I think making a very clear sign that if you're coming in to just troll and be a dick and stuff, you're not kind of welcome here. So this isn't the place for you to waste your time doing that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But in general, it does kind of feel like the overall vibe of Letterboxd, the kind of accessibility of it, the tools that it has, it does really invite more of the people who are just genuine film fans rather than an IMDb where people just kind of go there just to troll because it's easy and fun or whatever. I think Letterboxd does kind of nourish that. And there are people you can use Letterboxd however you want to use it, right? There are the people who do kind of the one-liner reviews and they have fun doing that, and that's cool too. And we definitely don't discourage that, but we also really love people who are writing longer kind of reviews and having taking that time to really craft what they feel and think about a movie and make it their own kind of personal journey of their experience watching movies. So 5 years from them, they can go back and look at when they watched so-and-so movie and what they thought about it and everything. I know for me, you guys, I was using Letterboxd since it started. I was using it back when it was in beta before it was even actually live. And part of the reason that I was able to get the job there was because they knew that I had been an active user of the site and was really familiar with the site and everything that it had going for it for such a long time. Just as a fan of it, just as a hobby, I was logging everything on Letterboxd, because before that I was either on IMDb or I was in my notes app on my computer making I had lists of everything that I watched and what my ratings for it and everything, and reviewing things just really on my own for no one to see ever. Or I had a Tumblr where I was doing that kind of stuff, and Letterboxd really felt perfect when it first came out. And I had a friend who showed me it and gave me the invite, because back when it was in beta you could only get onto it if you had an invite from somebody, and showed me what it was. It felt like the perfect thing that I had been looking for forever. Not to I'm not biased or anything, but yeah, it really just feels like it really does. Like the people who love movies the way that we love movies, it's a really nice home for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all spreadsheets for a long time, and then
Yeah.
I found the perfect app to replace that system.
I do like the flexibility when it comes to the star ratings. I love being as precise as I can. Um, I like the half star
I don't
ratings.
know.
I really do.
I would love a star and a fourth star. Or
I was just
something.
gonna say that, like,
One and a
has there been?
fourth star, one and a third star.
I
I
don't
mean,
know
if
if
you
you
want
can
to,
reveal this. Has there ever been any talk of like quarter star ratings or things like that? And
I come on now, they can't be talking about
I,
that stuff. That'd be
I guess
hilarious.
not. I
We
thought I would at least ask.
no, we have requests for those kind of even more granular kind of ratings. Like we do get requests like that all the time on social.
I,
But in terms of implementing it, we're our product team and our co-founder Matt. They're very deliberate about what they roll out in the so it's not everything gets past that
Yeah,
request stage.
yeah,
I
yeah,
would assuming having to recode all of that would be a pain.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You know,
it's
the
fine
whole
the way it
system.
is.
Um,
We don't need to have we don't need to change it to 10 stars. We don't need to change it. 5
oh
stars is
yeah,
good.
yeah, very true.
The half
Thought I would at
star
least
is
ask.
good.
Um,
Um,
yeah, I've always liked the way that system works. You know what I mean? I've
yeah.
always liked it. You know what I mean? It makes me. I don't have to have it. I'm an indecisive person when it comes to those things. So getting that little
Mm,
leeway has always been beneficial.
Yeah.
yeah, I
But
think having the flexibility of not rating as well is a positive feature of the site. You're not forced to rate something if you don't want to, and you can use the like, which is the heart. If you don't want to give something 5 stars and you just want to like it, that's cool. And I feel it's not like it doesn't feel like it's a tough. It's not making it tough for you to like something or not. You just kind of just do what you want, kind of thing.
yeah, I mean, I agree. That's an important feature because the way I feel like with most, I guess I don't really do it that often. I don't use the like very often. But if you're a person that doesn't really want to rate something after you've watched it for the first time, and you just kind of want to remember that you liked it at least, and that maybe you're a person that has to at least watch a movie a couple times before you can feel like you can give it a rating, then that's a good thing, a way to market. And say, you know what, I liked it. I can come back to it. Um, and then maybe next time I watch it, I can feel more definitive about my opinion. Um, but yeah, I like that. And but when it comes back to collecting, so I'm assuming you guys are into the labels. I see the Criterion hat. I don't know about Aaron. He's kind of got things hidden. I don't see anything.
No,
I don't see any physical media around. I don't know.
Oh,
Uh oh.
he's moving
Never
the
it's
camera
all
mind.
over the
now.
place. It's kind of
Okay. Now, never
I,
mind. It was below the camera. I see it now.
Below
I
the
don't have
camera
a
line.
But
Mitchell's got a
play.
beautiful new shelf.
Oh yeah.
I
That's
need
true.
to invest in one of those soon.
I'll show you mine. That's the way I said it. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. No, I'll show you mine when we're off when we're done, because I don't want to mess up this setup. But yeah, I
Yeah, don't
gotta.
want to. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't want
you
to.
have everything
But
perfectly centered right now.
yeah. So,
Yeah, I
but
can take you once we're off camera. I can take you guys to my living because I'm in my office right now, and my living
yeah,
room has all my stuff, so it would mess things up if I tried to move. But
yeah,
yeah, I definitely value collection. I definitely value labels. Like especially, I think in the last few years, I've gotten a lot more into like specific labels and like following labels and like seeing like what people are putting out. Like you mentioned Jonathan from Fun City Editions, which is like probably my favorite label right now. Like everything they put out is like an absolute must for me. And I've said this to Jonathan too, like plenty of times. Like I think that where he's looking is like exactly in my pocket of the kind of movies that I love the most. It's like these like movies that have a particular vibe to them. They're like cool as hell. They kind of like didn't get the recognition that they deserved when they came out. And he rides a nice line of like it can be a bigger movie like Married to the Mob, which is kind of like a higher profile one, but then something like Natural Enemies, which like I literally had never heard of until they were releasing it. And Aaron told me how cool it was and like how cool it was that they were releasing it. And like I made sure that I snatched that up the second that they had it out. And yeah, I mean, I love following. Definitely labels is like a huge thing for me, way more so than it was like a few years back.
Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah.
What are some of the labels you like to follow?
I'll add to the Fun City
Yeah,
editions. I sort of love. I
I can
think.
see why you guys
Um,
released their trailer now. You know,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, kind of led into that.
yeah, I'm very genre leaning as well, so I'm into all the other kind of sort of genre type labels, Seven Films uh, and Vinegar Syndrome. All those guys are great, but there is something specific about what Fun City editions like that sort of taps into a very specific type of film that I love, like things like Jeremy coming out. That's like one of my favorites. You know, under the radar kind of gems that people don't talk about enough. That there's so much out there that's like that, and natural enemies that never see the light of day. So seeing this kind of stuff come out on these beautiful package editions is so like amazing. It's kind of like wow, another one to tick off the holy grail sort of thing.
yeah. No, we talked about Natural Enemies when it first came out. Me and Andrew both had seen it, and God, what an upper of a movie that is.
Yeah.
It's
And I had
the last time we had Jonathan on, we talked about it. I was like, oh, one of the most pessimistic movies that you could ever possibly
movie.
put out.
That's the wrong movie.
Oh no, but I already showed it.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say,
this movie's ironically, these movies are complete opposite tonally. I just happen to have them next to me, as I always do.
He always has. Literally, he acts like it's own accident, but he just likes to keep them around.
Fun City
Yeah, see more.
Yeah,
it's been like a month since we talked to Jonathan, right? You don't have to keep them around you anymore.
They're always around me. I mean, why not keep your friends close, enemies closer? It doesn't really apply to the situation at all.
Natural enemies, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, keep your natural enemies closer.
But
yeah, I had a when I was collecting VHS tapes from like old video stores, I've tossed a lot of them out now that have come out on like DVD, but I've kept a few that have never been released in like Blu-ray or anything. And Natural Enemies was one of the ones that are high on my list. And yeah, I've still got the tape, but I still haven't. I don't know. Can't part with it for some reason.
No, I understand that. You were talking about The Matrix earlier, Mitchell. It's one of the few VHSs I have not gotten rid of.
Yeah,
I've kept that one from back in '99 that I watched then. I'm like I'm just gonna keep this one. It's the one movie. It's the one movie that really got me into filmmaking. So, yeah, I understand it. We're all collectors. The other word for us is called hoarders, and
some can, some do.
Well, we're kind of hoarders. I mean, we get out. You're literally living around it. You're a hoarder.
Okay. I didn't.
It's all around you. Today. Some of us are more organized than others, but
some of it. Well, obviously, space is always a key thing. That's a lot of the things with a lot of physical media. That's kind of a lot of the reasons why a lot of people don't buy movies anymore.
Yeah, they like
at least physically.
They like the less clutter. Yeah.
Well, also people, wherever their living situation may be, pricing, financial reasons, all this kind of stuff. I think goes into it as time goes on. And also most stores, I say this like a broken clock every time. It's most stores don't sell movies anymore, at least in my area. It's just kind of a shame. It really is.
Online buying changed everything though.
I think
that's
COVID,
when I went. That's when I went crazy.
COVID and pandemic times changed everything when it came to buying movies, buying physical media in general, and it kind of sped things up. It sped the timeline up for everything when it came to movies. We were going to get to an eventual, digital version, streaming version, buying things online more so than buying things in store, and it just sped everything up. We're trying to kind of go back to the pre-pandemic times, but I think the box has been open and you can't really get there anymore. So that's kind of when I think the boutique labels kind of exploded in popularity. Really, is over the last 3 years or so, and I've noticed that I brought it up to so many people.
A lot of the heads of labels have told us that they're actually their money things went up. People started buying more.
And they thought the opposite was going to happen. They thought that they were going to go out of business because of the situation like that. No, it ended up increasing.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what it was for me. I think a big part of it was just starting to collect more stuff during, like, kind of as the pandemic was kicking off, and like discovering like Imprint, the Australian label. I literally had no idea that they even existed like before the pandemic, and now like I literally buy the whole bundle like every single month that they like drop them, and like that's surely from just like being kind of in the aura and like looking for more kind of stuff like that, and getting a 4K player like changed my life. Like I just got a 4K player. Oh shit, like I think like a year ago now. I got a 4K player for the first time. And so like then I was able to get like second sight stuff, which I had never like had access to before, or like a lot of like the Aero UK stuff that they don't have in like the US. And so like that really opened up another door for me too, which I think like if people can afford to, I think getting like an all region like player is absolutely like essential if you're able to. It definitely,
Mm.
it's one of those things. I feel like for me, I even the transition from like DVD to Blu-ray, and then the transition from like Blu-ray to 4K, like I was very late in making those transitions because I don't like change, and like especially with like DVD to Blu-ray, it's like, what am I going to do? Upgrade all of these like movies that I had on DVD to Blu-ray? Like that feels like too much work and like time and money or whatever. But then like I do it and I become obsessed with it. And so I feel, and then I'm like, oh, I wish I had done this, a year ago and not been buying all these other things for so long. So like making the switch to having an all region player was really, really huge for me.
Yeah, it's really
I
huge for
haven't.
your wallet as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, not great for the wall.
Yeah.
I still haven't made the leap to 4K, but Mitchell is making it very hard for me
It's worth
not to.
it. It's
Do
worth
it,
it,
man.
buddy.
Do it. I'm not we've talked about it a lot on the show. I'm not a kind of a straight up advocate for 4K for everything.
Hmm.
I think it really just depends on the movie. Not all.
It definitely makes a big difference for some movies and not at
Yeah.
all for other movies. Like there are 4Ks that I've bought and like put them on and been like, oh, like I wish that I had looked at like the Blu-ray.com reviews for this to see if it was really worth like making the upgrade,
Yeah.
because it's basically just the same transfer and it doesn't really make a difference on some of them.
Yeah. And of
Oh, very
course,
much so.
yeah, and of course, also for some of these, one of the issues we run into a lot is a lot of these 4K new 4K editions, even with labels, they're not really doing anything else to the move with the release. They're just kind of releasing the film, and
Yeah.
the same extras package is all there from the last edition. So, us as collectors, we're like, do we really need? Is the upgrade in the quality, the resolution that much better for me to buy this again with no extra features,
Right.
or deluxe packaging or
Sometimes they're
something?
releasing them
You know,
very close together, like within a year or less
Hmm.
time, they'll come out with a brand new Blu-ray release, remastered, extra features, and then less than a year later, 4K edition of the same exact thing that you just bought. For the most part, it's frustrating as a consumer. Um, and then some, and the one thing with the labels that we've talked a little bit about, Steven, is that you get the same movie released by a couple of different labels, all like with the same transfer, different special features. Which one do you buy? Do you buy all three? Um,
it
it's
becomes
it's
a
it's chaos.
It becomes about
Yeah,
loyalty after that. It's like, so which which label
preference, I
are you
guess.
more loyal to? And
It,
I mean, or
yeah.
what's more convenient? I mean, Kino keeps putting out things that Imprint's putting out. But they're
Yeah.
both region free, but you know, do you want to import it from Australia, or do you want to just keep it since Kino's a US company? Do you want to just
And
buy
usually it's
Kino's,
usually it's different features in that case. Imprint's kind of
typically.
getting
Yeah.
exclusive stuff.
Yeah.
Kino's got an exclusive thing. So
Yeah.
then you play that game once again. I hate when like it happens within a week of each other, where like you've already like bought the imprint and then the Kino announcement, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Even today, we just literally last week we talked about an imprint release. Steven, tell me, Full Circle, The Haunting of
The
Julia.
haunted. Yep.
God, the third shoe dropped today, like I predicted.
Yeah.
BFI's putting out the
BFI's
4K,
putting it out. Yeah.
putting it
BF.
out again. It's like
Yeah.
all within a week, three different editions of the same movie
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
announced.
Is there an edition? Is there a physical media release that of recent times that you've been really excited that you got a hold of?
I mean, I'll just on that, I will say that on the Haunting of Julia, Aaron and I were literally talking about that in our Letterboxd Slack today about the Haunting of Julia and the three different places that are putting it out right now, and like not knowing, which one to go with. But in terms of A release recently that I've been very excited about. I mean, I haven't gotten it yet, but I will say the Second Sight's Martin release, I'm like so
It's
stoked for that.
yeah, I think it's still got another
It's a
month.
long time coming
It's
too.
still
Yeah,
got a
it's like
month
the
before.
the 27th of February, I think, is when it's coming
Oh, is
out.
it? Okay.
But that's one that I'm very stoked for. I was also the studio can now 4K of The Driver, the Walter Hill movie that came out in December, was one that I was really stoked for, and like immediately picked that up. It's a nice steelbook. It looks great. It's like one of my favorite movies. So like that getting the 4K release was very exciting. What about you, Aaron?
I where to start? I think I'm just thinking about this now because I literally received it a couple of days ago. But the House of Psychotic Women box set
Nice.
by Seven Films. I actually bought it back in October, and just through some shipping overseas, internationally, is so touch and go lately
Yeah.
that it didn't arrive until like a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
But I was super excited to open it, and yeah, it's just some of the stuff that Seven has been putting together, just beautifully curated, like sets. Also the folk horror one they put out last year. That stuff just gets me. Yeah, I'll just like pre-order, no question. Like I'll just put it down and like yeah.
Sounds like me.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did
but that
Severin did the 4K of Out of the Blue too, which is like one of my all-time
yeah.
Oh,
favorite movies. And that was one.
Yeah,
you're
I
hitting
know.
my button. You're hitting my
Steven's a
button.
big advocate for that.
We
I-
just we
I
just
thought-
we
tell
just
Steven.
actually talked to the guy that was behind the restoration of Out of the
Mhm.
Blue, John Allen Simon, and
Yeah.
yeah, he's
I
I
a,
was
yeah, good.
Speaking of that one, I bought the BFI version of Out of the Blue, so I didn't go
Mhm.
Seven way.
What the hell are you thinking, man? No, I'm just kidding. It's a great release. It's a good release too. But yeah, that 4K upgrade's worth it.
Oh my god, it's so good. I was on the
it's worth
Kickstarter for that when they were like funding for the restoration and everything for it. So like that was a beautiful thing to see like come together. I saw it for the first time. They like played the restoration at like AFI festival like online or something like that like 2 years ago, like towards the beginning of the pandemic, and I watched it, and that was the first time I had ever seen it. I'm like a huge Dennis Hopper fan and I had never seen it before. And so like that blew my mind. And then sort of like just tracing the like steps to where it was finally coming out, like that was like one of those things where it was like just like very like built up anticipation for it, and then like it finally comes in the 4K from Severin, and it's like as gorgeous as you could have hoped that it would be, and it just feels like all that anticipation finally paid off.
Yeah. We have me and another podcast YouTube channel, Disconnected. We're doing our own physical media award show. It's called the Shelf Shock Rewind Awards, and I'm advocating tons for well, I already know the winners, but I'm advocating tons for Out of the Blue. I was advocating tons for Out of the Blue in a lot of categories. I just love that. I mean, the extras on that thing, just so many great interviews. Kat Ellinger's commentary, just tons of great stuff in there. But yeah, anything else? I'll bring up a couple. I got well, it should be here maybe in the next day or two, but I got that Indicators Michael J. Murphy set that long in the waiting. If you're into obscure filmmakers, this seems to be a set that you need to get a hold of. A kind of a culty horror genre filmmaker in the UK. So I don't know if you've heard anything about that set.
Yeah, it's on. I saw it and I was like, I need this even because I got the Andy Milligan Seven Films box set, and that feels to me at the bottom of scraping the barrel for like just that sort of stuff. And then Michael J. Murphy comes out, and I'm like, shit, there's another level I need to like plunge down.
And then
into
you already
and, like,
have the
find.
Al Adamson as well. God, there's tons of them, man. Arrow's even put out a couple filmmaker box sets.
Yeah.
That recent one, Stephen, tell the Moodison set.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I just got that the other day.
I just got that.
Set.
Yeah. But there's even some genre stuff. The Weird in Wisconsin set from Arrow, which is I can't think of the filmmaker. I'm looking at it. My eyesight
sucks,
and it's dim in this room, so I can't read it. But I have two. Well, I probably do. Two sets of kind of low budget regional filmmakers that they put out as well. And I love that's my favorite stuff. That's my favorite stuff is when they put out a box set that's kind of comprehensive of a like a just micro budget, low budget filmmaker, that I'm like, okay, I'll just take all that stuff and watch all of it. All the Doris Wishman stuff coming out from Vinegar Syndrome is all tickling my fancy. But yeah,
the Shaw Brothers Shaw Scope.
Oh,
I
yeah.
bought
Yeah, the
two
Shaw
both
Scope
volumes
stuff's
of that,
really
and
good.
it's just phenomenal. That stuff is, you could spend days just digging through it.
Yeah.
It's worth every penny.
Yeah.
I think Letterboxd should have their own physical media label.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, let's do
you guys
it.
should think about
Yeah, you
You guys
got
should think about that.
yeah,
Pitch it to 'em.
get the funding for it.
Pitch it to 'em. You know, you can start working with all them streaming services that you guys connect with, and be like, hey, there's some great movies that you need to put physical media out for.
Yeah.
And there you go. You guys can through the Letterboxd label.
Yeah.
But guys, we very much appreciate you coming on and geeking out with us, talking about some of your background. Love to have you back. Maybe we can do this again and have maybe a particular focus on something. Maybe talk about 4 of our favorites, which is a Letterboxd thing. Maybe we can kind of do our own 4 favorites. I know you do that on the Letterboxd show. I know we just
You just kind of stole the idea.
You just
You
steal your idea.
You can steal it for an episode. You can steal
Yeah,
it. It's all in the brand.
We'll make it 5 favorites just to change it up a little bit. Just add just one more movie. But guys, thanks for taking the time to talk with us. And Mitchell, if there's a place where anybody wants to reach out to you, where's the best place?
Oh yeah, you can just follow me on Twitter at @itismitchell, and shoot me a line over there if you want.
Fantastic. And Aaron?
Yeah, follow me on Letterboxd if you want. My handle is Nature Bean.
Okay.
I should have said follow me on Letterboxd.
I was going to say, God,
embarrassing.
what the hell? No. God, your boss is not going to be. You're like, you didn't say the place you work for. But yes, please follow these. Yeah, I'm sorry, Aaron.
Oh no, I was just gonna the great thing about Letterboxd is there's no DMs, so if you follow me, that's
yep.
It's all about movies. It's not about anything else.
Follow the movies that I watch.
Yeah.
But thanks, guys. We very much appreciate you coming in, and you guys have a good rest of your day.
You too, guys.
Thanks so much. It was fun.
Thank you.
Right.